Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, Kick is up and running, and YouTube is also up and running. Nice, you'll have to see it. Okay, looks like everything is working. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Where did we leave off? I kind of want to adjust the volume a little bit. Stream volume needs to be up. Game volume can come slightly down, I think. Yeah, okay, cool. That's probably fine. Right, let's have a chat with Abelard and see what he has to say. Okay. Abelard surveys you briskly but meticulously, as though he is inspecting you for shortcomings. Then he offers you a courteous nod, Lord Captain. Let's talk about things that may be useful to me as a rogue trader. I'd like to know more about my seneschal. I'd love to know what the word seneschal means. I think it means some kind of like servant, but like more prestigious. Or high ranking, I guess. You may call me by my first name if you wish. I was taking my leave until next time.
As you wish, Lord Captain. What would you like to know?
Tell me about yourself. What were you before you became Theodora's Seneschal?
I used to be an officer in the Navis Imperialis. No, a used to be is not quite right. It was not simply a job. It was my calling, the essence of my life. I was proud to serve Lord Captain Theodora, but in my heart and mind, I'm still an officer of the Imperium.
Okay.
I met Lord Captain Theodora on a mission where the Imperial Navy was providing reinforcement to the rogue traders' army on one of the frontier worlds. Our acquaintance was not easy. Working with people outside the Navy hierarchy has never been my strong suit. It was to my great surprise then, that after the mission's completion, I received a referral to leave my service in the Navy and join the rogue trader's personal council.
Huh, okay.
It was a difficult choice for me. But I saw in the offer a chance to serve the interests of humanity even more effectively than in the Navis Imperialis. You do not need me to tell you just how remarkable a person Lord Captain Theodora was. I recognized her at once as a true leader and formidable creative force. One who had built a protectorate amidst the dangers and wildness of the Expanse.
Okay. Leaving the Imperial Navy is far from easy. Why were you permitted to quit your post? The way you talk with Theodora, I'm beginning to think you were in love with her. Do you have a family? I don't get that impression. That seems weird. Let's go with number 2.
You could say there was no one among the naval command who was willing to impede the wishes of the rogue trader. To do so would be to risk their own position and their relationship with Theodora. Well, the Lord Captain possessed certain contacts in the Imperial Navy. Contacts which she used to request help during the conflict on the border world. And which enabled her to make me an offer that resulted in my joining her retinue. The Navis Imperialis is an ancient institution with its own mandates and muster lists. On occasion, in the heat of an official briefing, or an informal discussion, I violated those rules, determined to press my point. It is challenging to choose the words to accurately express my opinion on a situation or the actions of others that do not sound overly scathing or confrontational. Many in command were inclined to view my manner of speaking as unbefitting a person of my rank.
Okay. What are you talking about here? I don't feel like this one's appropriate, but I'm kind of curious what he's gonna say. So let's click on the way you talk about Theodora. I'm beginning to think you were in love with her.
What? Lord Captain, any allegations of improper feelings or unsanctioned relations are utterly baseless and bordering on the insulting. Utterly baseless.
He didn't like me asking that question at all. Bro was not impressed.
I am a widower. I am a father of 4, and if my information is not outdated, a grandfather of 11. My family lives on Dargonus. None of my children express any eagerness or aptitude for serving aboard ship, and I would hardly have insisted that they follow in my footsteps.
Okay. Cool.
Of course.
You may call me by my first name if you wish.
I thank you for the honor, but I must decline. As a former military officer, I believe in the importance of order in all things, including the chain of command. You are the Lord Captain, my direct superior. I am not prepared to address you in any way other than as regulation dictates.
Honestly, I respect that. We need more of this type of thinking in today's world. That's good value right there. Let's talk about things that may be of use to me. Sure.
A noble aspiration, Lord Captain. I am ready to acquaint you with all the particulars that interest you.
Outline the situation expands for me. What do I need to keep in mind? Who are the main players I need to be aware of? Okay, I think we can go through all of these. What is that? Oh, nice. Okay. Tomorrow is going to be a rainy, cloudy day. That makes me happy. I love to see it. Outline the situation in the Coronis Expanse for me. What do I need to know and keep in mind?
This is a topic for an official briefing, not a casual conversation. But I will try to answer succinctly. And if you permit, in my own words. The Coronis Expanse is considerably removed from the heart of the Imperium. This means that local warp routes become useless within months. Established pathways are regularly subject to attacks from all kinds of rabble. And in the only major port, the Imperium's frigates find themselves moored alongside pirate vessels.
Huh. Okay.
Until recently,
what else
the
could say?
Coronis Expanse could hardly have been called a region of the Imperium. The situation has changed with the arrival of the Lord Inquisitor, but not by much. This place operates under its own rules, you see. More radical, so to speak. But ones that allow for a non-standard approach where there is a promise of victory. The Coronis Expanse is considered rogue trader territory for a reason. Only rogue traders have sufficient military might, audacity, and the rights granted them by the warrant to survive the leap into the unexplored part of the Expanse, and in the event of a successful outcome, to hold on to whatever they manage to capture on the frontier.
Huh. Okay. Who are the main players I need to be aware of in the Coronis Expanse?
In the first instance, you should treat official representatives of the Imperium with respect. The Expanse may be on the fringes, but it still numbers among the territories of the Golden Throne. The arrival of the Lord Inquisitor has turned the Coronis Expanse into a less wild and uncontrolled region, to the regret of some individuals who had grown inured to the local lawlessness.
Okay.
Rogue traders such as yourself are also servants of the Imperium. They have been accorded special rights and powers. They wield immense authority within their territory, and they enjoy absolute respect in other parts of the Expanse. The most powerful of them are Caligos Winterscale and Incendia Bastal Chorda. Tread carefully when dealing with either of them.
Huh. Okay. Good to know.
If we are to speak of unclaimed territory, which is what Footfall is, among the scum that dwells on that handful of asteroids, there are 3 factions that wield considerable influence in the sector. The first is the Kazbala Commission, organized crime in its most primitive form. It holds sway over the Liege of Footfall and has links to rogue trader Winterscale. The second faction is an offshoot of our shining ecclesiarchy, followers of St. Drusus. They are actively building their forces and hold influence over rogue trader Chorda. And finally, the third faction, the Explorators, a wing of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They are willing to die and kill for the secrets of the ancient technological heresies that are hidden among the stars of the Coronis expanse.
Huh. Okay, good to know. Conrad, our previous Master of Whispers, what can you tell me about his betrayal? What do you think he'll do next? Oh, right, because we never killed that guy. I completely forgot about that.
You know, Lord Captain, I am no admirer of fine art. But when we next find ourselves in a civilized port, with time to spare, I will promptly find an artist and commission a portrait of the individual to whom you refer, with a hole between the eyes. Conrad Voigtveer. That he committed his treachery and escaped with his life was an unforgivable oversight.
I like this guy. What a G.
We both served Lord Captain Theodora for many years, and we never saw eye to eye. He was brash. He was never afraid of assuming responsibility, and he willingly took on difficult tasks. I am loath to admit it, but the Von Valacius Protectorate continues to reap the fruits of his labors to this day. His service always garnered my respect. But everything else about him made me want to wring the neck of that two-faced snake.
Huh. Okay. Honestly, I respect anybody who is able to admit that their enemies did something right. Like, respect. Cool.
If you are taking comfort in the thought that we will hear no more of Conrad, prepare to be disappointed. You thwarted his plans, his meticulously plotted and nurtured treachery. He is sure to attempt to strike at you, and he will use his contacts and knowledge of the Protectorate to do so. The only question, Lord Captain, is whether you will be able to anticipate his next steps.
Okay, cool. That's all for now.
As you wish, Lord Captain.
I must take my leave until next time, Seneschal.
Lord Captain.
Nice. Okay. Is there anybody else we can chat to? I don't think so, Bishop. Where is Adira? I have not spoken to Adira. But I don't know where she would be. Who's this guy? Lord Captain. Okay, he doesn't have anything to say to me. I don't know where I would even find Adira. We have a servitor. Voidsman at arms reporting everything is under control in my assigned area, Lord Captain. Okay, cool. I can't do anything here. Is anything down here by any chance? Doesn't look like it. Bridge Technomat? Does this guy have anything to say? Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay. I'm actually curious where Adira is, given that I've spoken to everybody else but Adira at this point. So, no, we have spoken to Cassia. Does Uwe have anything to say? I doubt it. The servant's docked vocal cords were recently replaced with a silver-plated vox. Lol. Only in Warhammer are we replacing people's vocal cords. That's crazy. Okay. Let's go. Let's have a look if we can find Adira. Lord Captain's... Actually, I don't know if I've been to my quarters yet. Let's see. Let's see. Ooh. No, I definitely have not been here yet. Oh, wait. No, never mind. This is where Lady Theodora was killed. Okay. What's this here? The light glinting off the polished skull of some unknown Xenos makes it seem like the bony face is mocking you. Okay. Wait, so there's a skull? Oh, there is a skull. Like, that's an orc. What do you mean unknown Xenos? That's an orc. Everybody knows what an orc is. What did I just click on? Drops. Get exclusive rewards for viewing or oh, this is like Twitch drops. Not particularly worried. Not particularly worried. We can leave that. That's linking my account. Okay, now we're not. I'm not worried about that. What do we have here? The bookshelves are packed with ancient books, piles of papers and tomes, many of which look rather worn. Okay, cool. I think we've basically done everything here. Von Valancius ancestry records? Ah, this is interesting. What in the hell is this? Shrine of Remembrance. I have no idea what any of this is. Page, what, 3 of 409? That, wait, what? What? There is a lot of stuff here. Nah, we can, I don't know. That's too much for me to bother trying to read and figure out. The ticking clock is too quiet for its bulky size. Huh, okay. Honestly, pretty badass chambers overall. If I was a multi-trillionaire, this would... Okay, yeah, no, my room would look something like this. Pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie. This is pretty badass. Good, wait, what do we have in here? A cracked data slate. The final transactions with Chartist. What the hell is Chartist? Finally now equipped. The object has been loaded with equipment. I don't know what this is. Nope, no idea. Okay, maybe this will become resident at some point. We'll just take that. Change appearance. Wait. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. My game just froze. Oh. Okay, that's kind of cool. So you can adjust your appearance after the fact. Cool. Not particularly worried. I'm pretty happy with the weather. Abort. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. I must admit, I don't like that your whatever, like, character card is different than what your character looks like in-game. I kind of wish that, like, your character card was, like, automatically generated based off of whatever you made your character look like. That would feel more, I don't know, natural, I guess. But I mean, that's 100% a nitpick. What is this? Beyond the glass, the distant stars glimmer in the darkness of endless space, filling you with an odd sense of dread. Yeah, no shit. If I was looking out into the abyss of space, I would feel similarly. Okay. Wait, is that a Kroot? Do we have a Kroot mounted on our wall? What? The long eye of this fierce monster captured in the final moments. We got a Kroot something or other that's just mounted on our wall. Kind of badass, honestly. A waterfall? What is this? The water's calming murmurs and warm stream feel inexplicably deceptive. A moment of weakness and rest promises nothing but danger. Sure. Okay. I'm not entirely sure where to go next. Let's see. What is this? The Tricks of the... I don't know what that word is. Of the faithful to his word and name, the text below the solemn heading it looks noticeably faded. It appears to be the prayer book has been kept open on this page for a very long time. Ah, okay, sure. Fine sculpture made from a strange metal orb. Oh, okay, so we just straight up have, like, the Eye of Sauron in here. I mean, sounds good to me. What is this? A bizarre fragment hung on a trophy board. The light, smooth surface of the object is dotted with dark spots and crumbling holes. Huh. I have no idea what that is. Okay, cool. Okay, well, Adira is clearly not here. I don't know where else we would find her. What do we have here? Hefty tome contains schematics of the flagship of House von Valancius. Yes. Copies of reports of the documents. Okay, cool. It's majestic portrait, skilled Lord Captain. Okay. Yeah, no, okay. Nothing major. Is this one anything? Okay. Let's go see if we can find Adira. I mean, she's got to be somewhere on the ship, I would imagine. So, right. I don't know where I would find her though. Maybe up this way. I can't go through here though, which is weird. I feel like I should be able to go through those doors. Maybe that's something I still need to unlock. Oh, there's Adira. Oh, okay. I thought it was weird that she wasn't just here with me. Okay. The tall middle-aged woman stares straight ahead, her eyes vacant, as she rubs the implant at her temple. Her collar is undone, and one of the clasps on the verge is falling off. Sensing your presence, Adira turns her head towards you and offers you a crooked smile, even as her eyes look right through you. I'd like to hear about your... I don't know what an augury is. What awaits me in the future?
All right. Let's hear what they're whispering about you. Hmm?
Adira laughs, rubs her hands together, and suddenly freezes with a vacant smile on her face, her head slightly tilted. You feel goosebumps appear on your skin, and your collar begins to waver ever so slightly, as if moved by a breeze from a half-open door.
Among the blind men and false prophets, a red-robed sage seeks the answer to a question. He does not know that it is not the answer he must seek, but the question that will draw everything into focus. Will you help him, rogue trader? But mark that sometimes ignorance is sweeter than oblivion.
Okay. Among the blind men and false prophets, a red-robed sage seeks the answer to a question. Huh. I feel like that's significant somehow. I need to keep an eye out for a red-robed sage at some point. I don't think I've met whoever this person is. But I feel like that's important.
A chained hound chases after glimmers of the aurora, but sparks in the scent of oil confound his nose. The chain trails after him. What will happen if you pick it up? Will you become his master, or merely another beast in the pack of his true lord?
I know we're gonna become his master. Yeah. No. We gonna become his master. None of this.
The glow of dawn bursts forth from its prison. Dungeon walls cannot contain the dark essence wallowing in the dust. A naive cub pushes his nose into a familiar hand, one that holds death in twisted glass. Cherish it or cast it off as a burden. The sword of change has already been raised. What is one more life to it?
I'm
sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in, somehow. But for now...
Adira strains to listen, then Franzal shakes her head. The psychic shrugs sheepishly and sniffs. I gotta admit, what voice acting is here is S tier. Like, this is brilliant. I wish there was more of it, but like, the voice acting that is here is really, really good. Okay. Where do you come from? What is it like being a psychic? You know, I mean, we could probably go through all of these. Let's go. Where do you come from?
Lyra, an outlying world in the Heathen Stars region. In the Coronis expanse, the deeper you go, the less visible the Astronomicon gets, and the less people know about the Imperium. The arrival of a rogue trader is the best thing that can happen to a world like that. The very best.
Okay. Tell me about Lyra.
It's an out-of-the-way planetoid between two faint stars. On Lyra, a dozen local tyrants fight over 5 measly continents. But they use everything they can to win, from poison to psychers. I haven't been there in many years, but there's nothing for me to miss. Trust me.
Okay.
But here on the ship is a different story altogether. I saw more wonders in my first year serving Lady von Valancius than I'd seen in my whole life on Lyra. Like my first journey through the warp, I was in bed for 3 days. I felt like supernovas were exploding in my head. I only found out later that I'd gotten off easy. Just through the bulkhead in the bay next to mine, a whole team turned into... Look at me rambling on, Lord Captain. Pay no attention.
I kind of want to know what she was going to say after that. But knowing Warhammer is probably they turned into like red mist or just like, you know, skulls for the skull throne and all of that. What did you do before you came to be on the ship?
Oh, I embroidered wall hangings in honor of our national heroes.
This chick is cooked.
I did the same thing I do here, Lord Captain. Divining. Our rulers prized the ability to see into the future. Every psyker that could be found was worth a small fortune on Lyra.
I like Kadira. I feel like she's gonna land us in some very hot water. Like, I feel like she's gonna be a problem in the next little while in this game.
There's no such thing as a peaceful life on Lyra. People like me were especially sought after. They'd pick psychers up wherever they found them, buy kids off their parents, even just abduct them. Take me for instance. I got taken from my street gang. The older kids sold me when they noticed there was something off about me. The ruling dynasties had schools where they trained us and beat us black and blue. And then they packed us off to serve. Some of us held on for a long time, but others didn't last. Not everyone's as smart and talented as me, you know. Some people crossed the line and were out of commission before their time.
No, this chick is cooked, man. I'm not planning on going down a heretical, like, heretical, I don't know what's it called? Life path? That's not right. There's a term for it in this game. I'm not planning on going down the heretical route in this game. I want to go more iconoclast, I think is what I'm feeling at this point. So I feel like me and Adira are gonna have some problems in the near future. How did you end up in the Rogue Trader's service?
Theodora von Valancius paid a visit to the ruler I was serving at the time. I don't know what the visit was for, and it's no business of mine anyway. I can still remember the way the voices in my head changed when I looked at her. They were practically screaming. She had so much behind her, and plenty ahead of her too. And as I gawped at her, all of a sudden I heard a whisper. A hint, a suggestion, nothing more. But I know the difference between idle chatter and a real threat. I seized my chance and approached Theodora. I managed to whisper a couple of words in her ear before the wardens dragged me away. They beat me and locked me up. No wonder. It wasn't my place to converse with outsiders. And then, Theodora's people came for me. They broke down the wall, butchered their guards. Also, I could tell them my warning in full. So, I said the rest, but I didn't want to go back to my old life. And so I entered the service of the von Valancius dynasty.
Damn. I'm actually curious. Who was Adira's voice actor? Adira voice actor. Adira voice actor. Wait, it's a dude? Hold on. Wait, no, that doesn't seem right. Huh? The voice actress of Adira and Wonder is Zuri Washington. She also voiced other characters, including Goddess. Huh. Zuri Washington. Damn. Okay, well, she killed it in this game. She absolutely killed it. Adira's voice actor is pretty damn impressive, I must admit. Okay. Have you ever been off the ship?
A few times. Not many. And if I think about it, why would I want to? I've got everything I need here. All the whispers I hear are familiar ones. They almost feel like family. And if I want to hear about the nightmares off the ship, I can. After some Amisec. But don't go getting the wrong idea. If I have to, I'll follow you to the edge of the galaxy.
Okay. You never finished your story about your first time crossing the warp.
It wasn't like it was a very fun trip, Lord Captain. But look, if you want to be entertained, I'm the woman for the job. I'll entertain you with one of the stories from my collection, no problem. But if you want to hear about the time I melted everyone in the bay next door, well, I just don't really want to go into the details on that one, all right?
That's the most Warhammer thing I've ever heard. Of course you melted people. What else was I expecting?
Of course, Lord Captain.
Got a new story for me?
You bet I do, Lord Captain. Okay.
Oh boy,
so,
we're in for a
we went
lot.
to
Okay.
Footfall once? Well, I mean, Lord Captain Theodora went to Footfall a lot. But on that occasion, she took me with her for some reason. My day had gotten off to a bad start. My head had been yammering since I woke up, but there was nothing else for it. I had to go. We arrive at the place, and what a place! All the gentlemen and ladies dressed to kill, showing off their encrusted implants, all clustered around little tables. Well, turned out it was a gaming den. And not just any gaming den, but one run by somebody with deep pockets for people with just as much cash to splash. You should have seen it. People gambling away planets in a game of regicide. Anyway, so the Lord Captain wanted me to help her beat some guy. So I tell her, the chips won't land in your favor. You'll get a bad hand. Don't sit down at that table, your ladyship. But did she listen? Of course she didn't. If there's one thing she never lacked, it's stubbornness. So they sat down and the cards were dealt. I'm hovering around like I'm not involved, but I'm keeping my eye on things. And everything in my head keeps getting louder and louder. Anyway, it's a good thing I realized in time that my mind wasn't going haywire over a losing hand, but something else. I made some excuse to drag the Lord Captain up from the table and took her away from that place. And a few minutes later, the room where we'd been... It turned out some wise guy had the same bright idea to bring a pet psyker along with him. One of those ones who just scuttle around in Footfall's underbelly. And the psyker just freaked out, I guess. After all the commotion, people went to see what happened in the room. And they'd all gone for each other's throats. Literally. With teeth. And I think they completely detached that asteroid from Footfall and pushed it off into open space so it would head off toward the local star.
Jeez, man. Sure. Okay. What's it like being a psyker?
Lord Captain, forgive me, but it would be like talking to a person born blind about colors. I could spend hours explaining, but it wouldn't make any sense to you.
I mean, fair. Yeah, sure.
Every psyker feels their connection with the warp in their own way. One person might see spots and shadows out of the corner of their eye. Another feels fingers running down their spine. As for me, I've got a door in my head. One that's open just a crack. There's no way to close it, no matter how hard I try. I've just had to get used to the whispers from the other side. When I need to use it for work, I listen in more closely. But I usually just try not to notice it.
Huh. Okay. I mean, I feel like this chick is going to give us some problems in the near future. I feel like she's going to go full nut. Oh, that's cool. Okay, if I hover over this, I get a full picture of her. Yeah, I feel like she's gonna give us some problems coming up. How do you live with this whispering in your head? What would happen if the door burst open? Aren't you afraid to lose control? Can you see my future? What would happen if your door burst open?
Well, if the door opens, that means somebody's planning to come in, right? But screw them. They're not coming through. Trust me. I know how to keep my valuable head locked up tight.
I don't know if I believe you on that one. Hey, I feel like you're gonna open that door sooner or later. How do you live with this whispering in your head?
Training, habit, and a little amasec and a couple other things you can get on the lower decks. If you put all those together, it makes things bearable. Sometimes I even wonder if I'm imagining half the voices I hear. You know, when life on board gets a little boring. Better than listening to the living, anyhow.
Great, so your method of keeping the entirety of the warp out of your head is alcohol. Sure. Why do I feel like that's not the best idea? Aren't you afraid of losing control?
Only losers who are afraid of their own gift lose control. Or idiots who never figure out what they are before it's too late. Or little kids who want to play around with their shiny new toy. If you don't know the limits of your abilities, or you're always bouncing around in your own head, that's a recipe for disaster.
Fair. Yeah, sure. Can you see my future? I mean, I don't, but nah, let's go. Can you talk about something else?
Sure thing.
Do you know did you know Theodora von Valancius well?
None of the officers knew the Lord Captain well, not even Abelard, and she was always closer to him than anyone else. She told me from the off if I ever listened to anything in the warp about her without her permission, I'd be going out through the airlock. I'm not an idiot, so I never stuck my nose where it didn't belong. Only when I was asked.
Good choice, especially in Warhammer. Yeah, good choice.
It's hard to wrap my head around the fact that she's gone. Lady von Valancius gave me everything I have. She opened the stars to me and the paths between them. I still think I can hear her voice.
Huh. Okay, cool. Things are strained between you and Argenta, isn't that right? Yeah.
The little sister
putting
is
it mildly.
afflicted with her own set of voices. Ones that whisper to her about corruption and heresy. The silly girl doesn't realize that if she wants to find the source, she needs to start by looking in her own head.
I am really looking forward to seeing what happens between Argenta and Adira. Like, these two are one of them's gonna end up killing the other. I just know it, and I really want to be there for that. I must take my leave. About your abilities, I don't particularly care about that one. I don't feel like that's relevant.
Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, we know Argenta doesn't like Adira. And not surprising, because Argenta is very much a dogmatic follower of the Emperor of Mankind, whereas Adira is very much going down the chaos heretical route. So, of course, they don't like each other. I am very curious who's gonna kill who. Right, I think we have spoken to pretty much everybody. Let's see where we can go next. Okay, Cronus Expanse. Right. I have no idea what to do here. Can I go to my objectives? There we go. Okay. Argented also retrieves our ship. Better put it off. Better not put it off for too long. Okay. I can't do that now, though. That's companion quest will be for later. What is this? Looking for trouble. A matter of the utmost importance led the interrogator of the Inquisition, Hendrix von Kallox, to the Reichad system. The rogue trader's duty as a loyal servant of the Imperium is to find the interrogator and aid him in his mission. Since his whereabouts is currently unknown, it may be easier said than done. The interrogator must have visited Reichad Minoris. Perhaps the planetary governor knows of his present whereabouts or planned course of action. Okay. The prison planetoid of the Reichad system may have caught the interrogator's attention. Okay. Okay, so I'm looking for Hendrix von Kallox, and I've got two options where I can go search for him, basically. What is this? Rogue trader person. I've completed all of these. No, looks like it. Okay. Okay, so we can basically choose then where we want to go. Let's go Reichad Minoris then. Oh, okay. Vox Master Vigis, Lord Captain, sorry to disturb you. It's pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding an audience with you in person. I think I hear Master Viserion? I think it's Viserion. I think I hear Master Viserion's voice. In any case, I wanted to warn you in advance. Okay, that's ominous. I love that I have this massive ass throne. That's so badass. Okay. Abelard, the everyday sounds of the bridge are disrupted by voices raised in anger. Abelard's voice is last fall. This is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a highborn brat out on a lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. Avrila Vent. I don't know who this person is. The young woman standing before Abelard strives with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior's anger. She falters, but then manages to look him in the eye and say, I apologize, sir, but I must speak to the Lord Captain. Very well, Lieutenant. You may address the Lord Captain, not least because I see you have already seen fit to disturb him. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of belligerence towards a higher-ranking officer will be logged on your personal profile without delay. Lord Captain, Lieutenant Avrila Vent, requesting permission to speak. Vent falls silent and then adds rashly, on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. I will listen to what you say. Speak. You may speak, but I want to hear a report on a shouting match. Having two officers on the bridge. Acceptable? I will listen to what you say. Speak, Lieutenant. This matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on orders to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary. I am convinced that this step is unwarranted and that the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of the senior officers. Vent is almost trembling with tension as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale. Abelard, in no hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptical huff. He glances at Surbak. I don't know who Surbak is, who's standing not far from him, but she maintains a stony expression. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Viserion and to intervene in what's happening on the lower decks, because very soon we will have a mutiny or a massacre on our hands. Vent reels off the last words as although she knows them by heart. She's clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she's finished, she casts an anxious glance at... When she's finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard and then you. Okay. Something's definitely going on. There's an insurrection in the making aboard my ship, and no one has informed me. How did all this start? Where does Seneschal Viserion come into all of this? The little I've heard of Viserion, he seems like a good dude. But I've never actually met whoever this person is, so... But I've only heard good things about Viserion. I think from Cassia. Let's go with option 3. Where does Seneschal Viserion come into all of this? Abelard, I shall explain, Aglog intones grimly. Avrila, I beg you to hurry. Time is running out. I will not hurry. Since my competence is under scrutiny, I shall speak for as long as I see fit. There is an established order to the way things are done on this ship, and one of the pillars of that system is the rogue trader's attention is not distracted by trivial matters. It is the Seneschal's role to ensure that. I have always handled internal problems myself. So, of course, when I receive information about cultists hiding on the lower decks, I took the matter in hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodora von Valancius will find refuge on her ship. I love Abelard. What a G. Of your event. You were far too heavy-handed, Seneschal Viserion. Wait, is Abelard Viserion? I might have misunderstood a whole lot of shit up until now. I did not know Abelard was Viserion. I thought these were two different people. Okay. Arrests, interrogationists, mass punishments for entire sectors. It has driven people to the brink, Mate says bitterly. Now there is a strike on the lower decks. In Depot 4, to be precise. 3 worker clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. The situation could degenerate into an all-out insurrection. But when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. I don't know if I trust this chick, but I like Abelard. So I'm more inclined to side with Abelard. There's an insurrection in the making aboard my ship and no one has informed me. How does it start? Abelard, what do you have to say with this? What is Depot 4? Master at Arms. The ship and forces report to you, and yet you seem hesitant to provide your let's go with this one. Master at Arms, the ships in forces report to you, and yet you seem hesitant to provide your own perspective. Lord Captain, unlike Lieutenant Vent, I respect the chain of command and realize that it is not within my right to challenge my superiors. Surek bows her head in Abelard's direction. However, a moment later, a serpentine smile appears on her lips. Serpentine. That immediately makes me distrust her. That being said, while I entirely share Master Viserion's opinion on what the fate of Depot 4 deserves, I must note that this insubordination is a direct consequence of the practices that he himself has introduced. Okay, so she's also accusing Abelard of being the problem. Lord Captain, unlike Lieutenant Vet, I respect the chain of... Oh, wait, no. Why can I not continue? Okay, whatever. Mr. Sorobak, I see you have decided to follow the Lieutenant's example after all. Such behavior does you no credit. Oh, okay. So we have an interesting situation here. So apparently something bad is going on in the lower decks. There's some sort of strike or insurrection or mutiny happening that this guardsman has brought to my attention. This master at arms has sided with the guardsman, and Abelard is apparently the one who's responsible. Okay. Sorobak, explain yourself. Abelard, do you wish to respond? Lieutenant Vent, would you say the Seneschal has singled you out from your peers in a way? I see. It appears you have unearthed an old squabble. I would prefer to be left out of it. I'm going to go with option 1. Sorobak, explain yourself. The ship's regulations state that the Master at Arms is responsible for resolving all matters related to the ships and forces, and yet it is no secret that the Seneschal has a tendency to show partiality. Those enforcers and officers whom he has deemed particularly promising are at times given permission to approach him for, I don't know what that is. That word is. Tetrafuge? I don't know what that is. I'm assuming that means some kind of preferential treatment. That's a new word to me. I might be English, but I'm not that English. Okay. I cannot deny Master Viserian's experience and insight. The Seneschal has a record of fostering students who have indeed achieved much and demonstrated impeccable performance. However, extending such patronage over the head of their immediate superior encourages disregard for hierarchy among your lordship's servants. Today, an enforcer goes to the Seneschal to report an order from the Master at Arms, and they happen to disagree with. Tomorrow they will go to the Lord Captain to object to the Seneschal's orders. I notice a pattern in these actions. Abelard, do you wish to respond? Mistress Sorobak, can you recall an occasion where I would encourage an officer to disobey the superior, or where I would overrule their order, or show favoritism to those who merited none? None, Seneschal, for there have been no such cases in the entire time I've served aboard the ship. If anyone would claim otherwise, I would have them pay for insulting your honor with blood. Your conduct in this regard has always been spotless. Nevertheless, given your eminent position, a simple show of attention on your part is enough to erode the propriety of a junior officer, inflate their sense of self-importance, and undermine discipline. That you distinguish some of them and know them by name is tantamount to walking around the officer's deck, handing out gifts to officers who have caught your eye. It fulfills those you set apart with ambition and audacity, makes them stand out among the rest. Enforcers are meant to be faceless servants, fighters ready to die, their fate entrusted to their commander and no one else. That is their sole foundation of order. I don't like this. I don't. Lieutenant Vent, what would you say the Seneschal... Lieutenant Vent, would you say the Seneschal has singled you out from your peers in a way? Lord Captain, I swear that Seneschal Viserion has never granted me any privileges, never once advocated for me, nor facilitated my promotions. Although, he is the man who convinced me to become an officer in the first place. He has offered me extensive guidance in my service, for which I am grateful to him. And while not all my fellows receive such attention, I know of at least a dozen fine officers whom the Seneschal keeps in his sights to ensure they continue to strive. I feel like that's what a good leader should do. Like, that only makes me respect Abelard more. Like, that's what a good leader should do. Okay. To prepare new generations of the dynasty's servants, to instruct them, and to separate those with potential from those who have exhausted it. That is my duty as Seneschal. The ship has bays worth of pilots, enforcers, officers, technicians, and stewards, whom I have raised personally. By the throne, every third person standing on the bridge right now was my student at one point. I see. Evidently, my officers are anything but a shining example of unity and adherence today. I have only myself to blame, I suppose. Damn. Okay. There's an insurrection to make a board of my ship, and it was told me how did it all start. Abelard, what do you have to say to all of this? What is Depot 4? Depot 4 is clearly just a part of the ship, so I don't particularly care about that one. How did all this start? That's probably what I'm most curious about, because this came out of nowhere. A beer event. The situation could boil over at any minute, so I'll give you the condensed version. It all began when the enforcers found a cultist amulet on the body of someone who'd been killed in a drunken brawl. We reported it up the chain immediately, arranged for a cleansing rite to be performed, and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive, but the search has brought tensions between the enforcers and workers. The search has brought tensions between enforcers and workers to a head. Okay. Abelard, what do you have to say to all of this? I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my actions for yourself, I have no objections. Every event, for my part, I urge Lord Captain to go down to the lower decks, stop the assault unit, and speak directly to the people. You will see that they are not lying or harboring heretics. That way, you will stop the uprising before it begins. Huh. I've heard enough. I will go down to the lower decks and deal with prophecy. I'm certain the Seneschal is acting with his authority, but I will verify the soundness of his decisions for myself. This matters not with your assurance. I leave the bridge and don't have... Huh. This is an interesting one, because I have a suspicion that this guardsman is trying to set me up. I feel like if I go down there personally, that's just a trap. I'm certain the Seneschal was acting within his authority, but I will verify the soundness of his decisions for myself. This matters not. I'm inclined to go with option 5. I'm certain the Seneschal was acting with his authority, but I'll verify the soundness of his decisions for myself. That seems like the most reasonable option, because I'm inclined to believe Abelard. Let's go with that. Throne preserve you, Lord Captain. I thank you for your support. That's not what I wanted to hear. Abelard grits his teeth slightly. An enterprise bordering on the somorphic? I don't know what that is. But please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you. Yeah, sure. Lord Captain, I regret that the enforcers were unable to handle the situation which led them to your Seneschal's involvement. I consider it my duty to go to Depot for myself and see to the expedient resolution of this incident. Okay. I definitely want Abelard with me. I think I'm going to leave Dira and take Cassia. Can I? Oh, wait. Oh, I can take them all. Oh, never mind. Okay, never mind. I can take everybody. Cool. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Viserion. Take that, scum. Oh, shit. These people do not like Abelard. Okay. Abelard reflexively wipes the sweat from his brow in a startlingly human gesture, and a telling one. A rare moment where he allows his age and weariness to show through his armor-like veneer of self-assurance. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I dearly regret that we cannot replace the locals with servitors. Okay. Did you hear they were shouting your name? The people dare disrespect senior officer. Let's keep moving. We need to get to the bottom of this. Let's go for that one, because I don't really know what's happening here yet. Let's keep moving. We need to get to the bottom of this. What is this? Something resembles a nest made out of thermal insulation material. This must be where the workers sleep between shifts. A nest? It's a bed. What are we? Okay, cool. Lower deck. Rabble. What does this valve do?
Always keep your eye on the prize.
I can't interact with it, so okay, whatever. Wow, nobles from the upper decks down here to see us. These valves are going to become important at some point.
Stop. There.
What is this? A container can be seen beyond the massive bars. Perhaps examining the pipe will allow you to reach it. Sure. How do I examine the pipe? I don't feel like... I can't do anything.
Keep your wits about you.
Huh. Okay. I can't... Can't do anything, so... Okay, whatever. Let's keep going. Okay. Who's this person? I can't speak to them. I don't know what that icon is above their head. I can't interact with them, so...
I always keep my options open.
Is there somebody here we can speak to? Okay, we got some stuff. I'll take that. Inside the box, a string of scratched letters runs along the edge. Different first names, but the same surname. It looks like the box has been passed down in the family from generation to generation. Ah. Okay, so a toolbox. Passed down through the generations. Interesting. I can't seem to do a whole lot here. Okay. Let's go back. What?
I still do not see our purpose in coming here.
Greetings, your graces. Welcome.
Relax, old man. Going for a stroll on the lower decks every once in a while is good for you. Lets you see how the simple folk live.
I mean, fair. I agree with Adira. Wow, nobles no tickets. Yes. Rebel. Okay.
I always have a backup plan.
Yo, we got something. Avira Vent. The sounds of heated discussion reverberate through the ship's base. Lieutenant Avira Vent of the ship's enforcers is barring the path of her superior, Master at Arms, Josakta Surbak, who has arrived clad in armor. Judging by the expressions and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and has now reached a boiling point. Lieutenant Vent, my patience is wearing thin. I have given you an order, now get out of my way. I cannot comply with that order, ma'am. Vent looks shaken, but there is fire in her eyes. This is my deck and my sector. So long as this area remains under the Lord Captain's special oversight, no action can be taken without my express permission. There are only 3 people who are authorized to make me stand down. The first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. Oh boy, this is going to get interesting. So not all my lessons fall on deaf ears. Abelard mutters in crabby approval. He does not clarify whether he means Vent, He does not clarify whether he means Vent, Surbak looming over her, or both. Avira Vent, your lordship. Noticing you, the 2 officers snap to attention and salute their subordinates, following suit a moment later. Okay. What's the situation? Yeah, let's go. What's the situation? Because I still have no idea what's going on. Vent's gaze is full of worry and regret. The people are getting desperate, clearly. They saw the assault unit and they decided they had nothing left to lose. I mean, I apologize, Lord Captain. It's outrageous. I'm sure the people simply didn't recognize you. It wouldn't have occurred otherwise. We will deal with them once the current situation is resolved. Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Oh, whoopsie. Okay, let's go. What's the situation? Your Lordship, my people have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as resources allow. Under control, Lieutenant. I came here to lead an investigative unit, and what do I see? The rabble is on the verge of mutiny. There is nothing to investigate. This simply calls for immediate repressions and firing squads. And you, Vent, are a step away from facing charges yourself. Okay. Is that all you have to say? Are you sure you're worthy of an officer's rank, Lieutenant Vent? For a split second, Vent freezes in fear, but she pulls herself together and straightens and clips out. Forgive me, Lord Captain. I will take steps to ensure such a thing does not happen again. I give the assault permission to alt fire. We'll crush this force. I want to speak to them. No, I want to speak to them because I don't know what the hell is going on. Let's just go. I want to speak to the strikers. Abelard's mouth twists, but he restrains himself and says nothing. Okay, so Abelard is clearly not happy. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck. Hope gleams in Lieutenant Vent's eyes. Okay, so I'm inclined to think that Vent is on the side of the strikers, and this, I don't know how to say her name, this other person is against it. Okay. Where are the strikers? I'm guessing down this way. I'm guessing they're down here. Oh. Okay, it's probably these people. I'm guessing. Because we have Vent over here. Oh, there we go. Okay. A dozen pairs of eyes stare abrasively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lowest deck. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation, from barely discernible to the strange to the outright grotesque. A whisper passes through the crowd and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in their reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd, an elderly woman and 2 men. These must be their leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain, you have come down to us? Tell me what is troubling you. Why are you striking? Striking? That's news to us, your lordship, says a tall, thin man in workers' gloves. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think. Shut up, Rivet, snaps the old woman, who turns her hostile dark eyes on you. Here's the deal, your lordship. Your damned enforcers are all over us down here. They say we're looking for cultists. One wrong word and they're reaching for their batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off the heating to the whole base for a week at a time so we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of those enforcers. The old woman spits on the floor and rubs the spittle with the toe of her worn out shoe. Oh shit. Okay, these people do not like me. Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see the sadness well in her eyes when the children's deaths are mentioned. She quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign over herself. Stager, it's all true. Vent is the only enforcer officer who stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks and who grew up amidships and had no fellow feeling towards us. The grim man with a scared face throws up his arms. Your lordship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers, your servants. We've plotted no disorder. We were on strike openly, and now we've got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. The persecution started a purpose of... I don't know what this word is. The persecution started a purpose of nothing you say. I was told that one of you was found in possession of a cultist amulet, and that there are heretics hiding here. Option 2 seems like the best one. That seems like the most reasonable. Let's go with that one. A cultist amulet. What's that? The gewgaw they found on the dead drunkard? If it was something evil or forbidden, we sure didn't know. The enforcers just said they were looking for heretics among us, and anyone obstructing the investigation would be punished. But now, there be heretics here. We know our people. There have been no new faces around. Definitely not, and if there were, we'd be the first to report them. As for this amulet, or whatever it is, they took it off a dead body. There are no cultists still breathing in our sector, that's for sure. But when the fight broke out, some enterprising folks looted the bodies. The boots they came back with, nobody's ever traded these decks and boots so fine. I can tell you that. Seems to me these cultists have better commanders than us. Oh yeah, these boots were really were fine. And there was no harm in taking them, right? As for the amulet, it must have been pocketed by someone who didn't know any better. We don't need any amulets around here. We all worship the Emperor. And when we're working, we bow down before the machine spirits of the large and small transformers and the servo motor. The same way my grandfather was taught 100 years ago by a tech priest who came calling. Believe us, your lordship, we are people of faith. Naive children, weren't you taught from an early age about the dangers of the archenemy's creations? Weren't you warned that any unfamiliar object could be one of them? Old Nan, we were told, Holy Sister, but it was long ago. The last time we saw a confessor in our sector, it was just after I had my third little one. That is regrettable, but you cannot lay the burden of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of the Holy Fathers. Who will you blame when beasts crawl out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? The Holy Father, who was not there, or the scavenger who brought the evil down on himself and his neighbors? Jeez, like, man, there is a lot to go through here. Okay. Abelard, do you have anything to add? I authorize the use of all necessary measures to locate Chaos Worshippers hiding in the sector. The specific steps taken by the officers were not reported to me. Abelard frowns, clearly disgruntled at having to explain himself in the workers' presence. Nevertheless, I am certain that their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken stevedores? I don't know what that is. They are the enemy and a threat to the ship. Neutralizing them demands decisive action. Sir Back, was it really necessary to torture these people with cold? The rabble understands only one language, Lord Captain, that of violence. As per regulations, should the laborers persist in their unwillingness to cooperate, the next step is limiting air supply and cutting off water, which is almost certain to restore order. The peasants can grumble all they want, but in the end, they are the source of their own misery. All they have to do is bow their heads and fall in line, and the need for punitive measures will disappear. That's the most Warhammer thing I've ever heard. Okay. Okay, what changes do you want? We were attacked on the way here. How do you space? I don't think we were attacked. It was a dude who threw something at Abelard, but I mean, if he was upset, he was upset. That's not like the same thing. What changes do you want? Would you look at this? The exalted Lord Captain himself is asking bile rats what we want. Well, here's what we want. We want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here. We want to be armed. Give us arms and we'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves if these cultists do show their faces. I've been the leader of my clan for 20 years. Now we're getting rid of these club-wielding thugs that can only improve things around here. I don't trust that at all. I don't. Stager, you've gone too far, old now. They'll never let the maggots on the lower decks live without the enforcers breathing down their necks. They'll probably even insist on the enforcers on the upper decks too. As for weapons, what do we need them for? Before the first day's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbor out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop hassling us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed the cultist bodies and we'll talk to them. One lower decker to another. If there are any more damned amulets around, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves. Whoever this dude is, I like him. He's got the right idea. Old Nan, you speak for yourself and your clan, and I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures. I want real change. They'll promise us the world now, but as soon as the Anointed One turns his back, these brutes will be on us. harder than ever before, all because we dared to speak out. The tall worker's eyes dart between two arguing leaders. Every few seconds, he opens his mouth as if planning to agree, but each time he falls silent, simply making a few vague noises of approval. Oof. Okay. Thoughts Abelard, modest arm, where do you stand? Cohesion. Spreading anarchy on the ship is the first step to embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight order. Withdraw those demands and we will consider the rest. Fine, I'll give the order for force to withdraw from the sector and give you weapons. Let's see how you cope governing yourselves and what to expect. I don't like this option. There has to be a middle ground. There has to be a middle ground. You have failed to convince me of your trustworthiness. This unrest ends now. Everyone who was involved now will be eliminated. I think this cohesion option is the best option. Sparing any ships, putting no weapons on the rest. Let's go with this. Withdraw those demands and we will consider the rest. The tall worker they called Rivet shrugs and casts a sidelong look at the old woman. Old man, listen, listen. The Lord Captain himself has come down to us and is offering concessions. And I don't know a single person in the whole of Depwood Fort who's ever stood next to the rogue trader, let alone talk to them. Back down. Now's not the time for you to be a stubborn old crone. Stager, listen to us, old man. The three clans of Depot 4 ought to act as one. We've made our minds up. It's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to disband the enforcer or give us weapons. We don't need any of that. Old man. The old woman hisses in dissatisfaction. You two are ganging up on me. Is that it? So brave you are against an old woman, but I'll shut up. I will, indeed. I won't go against two clan leaders on my own. If you want to make peace with the enforcers, make your peace. That's great, just fantastic. Lord Captain, we're all agreed. Oof. Okay. Then it's decided. The persecution will stop and I will expect you to assist in locating any remaining emissaries of the cultists. I think option 3. The persecution will stop and I will expect you to assist in locating any remaining amulets or weapons left by the cultists. Your lordship, thank you. You have not abandoned us lower deckers. You came yourself and settled everything. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. Okay, cool. I think that was a good decision. Of course, your lordship. We'll root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers and we'll leave no stone unturned. Nice. Okay, cool. Wait, what did I miss here? This is complete bedlam. Are you satisfied, Lord Captain? Then may I suggest we leave this circus and discuss everything en route. Okay, so Abelard isn't really happy. He would have liked us to take more extreme measures. I'm pretty happy, honestly. I think that was the best resolution. I must admit also, this game's like the way that game set it up and like that was S tier. Like it nailed the feeling of making you the actual like main dude in command who gets to have the final say. And your decision is your decision. I really enjoyed that. That's like, I can't think of another game that's given me that feeling of actually being in command of my own ship.
The Emperor.
It's a really, really, really impressive how good the writing is to do that. Okay, what is this? A page with the start of each defense, the marker of saying the workers going to strike. Okay, yeah, no, that we already know.
Always keep your eye on the
What
prize.
is? We got some loot here. Nice, I'll take all of that. I don't see anything else. I still don't know what all these valves do, but maybe that'll happen at a later point. Okay. I guess we just go back then. Is there anything we missed? Doesn't look like it. I think we've got everything here. Yeah, okay. Oh, Abelard's not happy with us. What has Abelard got to say? Abelard, stopping unexpectedly. Abelard imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance and addresses your other companions, saying, I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment. Okay. Abelard looks at you and his last vestiges of restraint vanish. Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? Oof. Bro is not happy with us. You courted? I don't know what the hell that word is. You courted the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them in with open arms and allow them to wreak havoc. And allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like because they see you as a weak leader. I don't feel like that's the case, but sure. Is that how you see your future at the helm of the Von Valancius Protectorate? Do not speak to your Lord Captain in that tone. Why are you so angry? I solved the problem. There is some truth to your criticism. Let's talk about your role in this instead. You allowed this revolt to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed. See, I still really like Abelard. I really do. There's some truth to your criticism. I feel like that's the best option. Let's see. I should say so. Abelard heaves a sigh, but Abelard heaves a sigh, but he visibly relaxes. You simply need to trust me. I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene. Abelard says irascibly. Remember Lord Captain Theodora. Do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers, while she dedicated herself to her grand designs for the Protectorate, as any true strategist and rogue trader ought. That's not the kind of rogue trader I want to be. Honestly, maybe if Theodora had spent more time trifling in matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. There is a new Lord Captain aboard the ship, and I will not repeat her mistake. I would be only too willing to trust my seneschal and not fill my head with such matters, but the situation has spiraled out of your control, Abelard. I don't really like any of these options, to be honest. Option 1 seems like the best bet. Maybe if there was in more time trifling matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. There is a new Lord Captain aboard the ship, and I will not repeat her mistake. That seems a little bit too on the nose to Theodora. I didn't get the impression, like, yeah. I would be only too willing to trust my seneschal and not fill my head with such matters, but the situation had spiraled out of your control, Abelard. Maybe option 2. Maybe option 2. The situation had spiraled out of your control, Abelard. Abelard's face relaxes slightly. You're right. At least as concerned junior officers making complaints directly to you. And Abelard stands straight at attention. I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself. Abelard speaks slowly, the words not coming easily to him. The prosperity of the Von Valancius Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds the sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. Fair. So I left behind everything I had known, everything my family had known. I come from a long line of officers, and I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture, Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods to distant frontiers on scouting voyages, and the advancement of the entire protectorate rested on my shoulders. And then suddenly, everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hanger on a seismically active world. One of the superior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed. And who knows what is happening on the planets? I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come as a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty bound to aid the new rogue trader, to aid you, to find your footing as quickly as possible. And to do that, I must insulute you, and to do that I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out by the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excess to requirements. Oof. Okay. Theodora trusted in established procedures, and she died. I won't make the same mistake. If you want to keep building the future of the Multilateral Project with me, stop living in the past. I like that option, but it also feels very heavy-handed. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain or Trader, accept it, and start living in the new world. A world where Theodore is gone, and where you and I have new decisions to make. I like that. That seems the best one to me so far. The prosperity of the Wonderland Protectorate is just as important to me. You are the only person who has comprehensive knowledge of how things are run on this ship. I think in the future I will follow your recommendations. No, I'm ultimately the rogue trader. He needs to listen to me. I don't like that one. I value what Theodora created, and I trust that this situation is an aberration in such otherwise smooth operation. Since the established procedures are working, I see no reason to change them. I see plenty of sentiment and handwriting in recent days, but very little competence. I have no plans to rely on your judgment. That seems necessary. I like option 4 and I like option 2. I think I want to go option 2. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader. Accept it and start living in the new world, a world where Theodora is gone, and where you and I have new decisions to make. Abelard solemnly inclines his head. Yes, Lord Captain. After a moment's silence, he adds, looking at you with interest. Your resolve is admirable and demonstrates strong leadership. I shall remember this moment, should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. And now, please, let us leave the lower decks. If the Rogue Trader desires to stretch his legs, there are far more suitable places. Okay, honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. That was cool. Is something happening? Oh, okay. Okay, just cool. Froze for a second there. That's fine.
Not dawdle.
Okay. Jeez, man. Like, I love the freedom of decisions this game gives you. That's seriously impressive. Like, there's definitely occasions in the dialogue where I feel like there's a missing option that would have been better suited. But the options that are here are still really excellent. Like, it's a rarity that there's not an option that I don't like. Okay. What do we do next? I guess we continue on. Cronus Expanse? Oh, right, because we were going to Rykas Minorius. This just happened on the way. Okay, let's see. Okay. As the ship makes its way through the star system, a strange fatigue falls over you. Your eyelids grow heavy, and and the quill you have been using to draw up yet another order falls from your hand. Okay. Uh-oh. You raise your head with a start. Someone else is here in your study. You stand up and stare at the dozens upon dozens of corpses surrounding you. Among their number, you recognize the disfigured and bloodied faces of those who died on the ship's bridge, and those you met in your previous life. How is this possible? Where are the enforcers posted to stand guard? It matters not. You are alone against a horde of heretics risen from the darkness to take your life. Okay. As if of its own accord, the shard lying at the edge of the desk, the sole remnant of Kunrag Voidfigur's weapon, slips into your hand. The metal is searing cold. The dead sway from side to side, closing in around you in a nightmarishly slow advance. I'm clearly hallucinating, right? I feel like I'm hallucinating. Step back or else kneel before the rogue trader you logged onto me. Stop, I do not wish for any of you to die. I don't like any of those options. I mean, I'm obviously hallucinating. I want an option 4 that acknowledges I'm hallucinating. Stop, I do not wish for any of you to die. The dead remain deaf to your words, creeping ever closer with the inevitability of death itself. You belatedly realize that your trembling hand has found the shard when its razor-sharp edge cuts into your palm. Uh-oh. An unbearably bright light floods everything around you, and you find yourself surrounded by groveling minions, their bodies shivering in your mere presence. Your hands no longer hold a pitiful shard, but a majestic and intricate weapon. A skillfully crafted sword with strange, unnerving proportions, a curved design, and an unusual hilt adorned with the image of a closed eye. That's chaos shit. That's chaos shit. Just give it to Argenta, and we call it. Like, yeah. The eye opens wide, revealing a gaze so ancient and dark, it steals your breath away. You have felt this gaze before, there on the bridge, and the voice that appears in your mind only confirms your guess. The tapestry is woven, the path is chosen. Accept your fate, champion. Yes, master. I am the sword's master, not its servant, remember that. Throw the demon blade away, never. Your body refuses to obey your mind. The handle feels as if it has become one with your hands, and the gaze of the demonic eye sets your very soul ablaze. Resisting your fate is futile. You scream as you feel your soul burn away to ash. Wow. You awaken from the vision, kneeling next to your desk, clothes drenched in sweat and a sour taste on your tongue. Your head is ringing, and you struggle to recall those faces and the image of the sword in your hands. Only a deep cut on your palm and the bloodied shard lying on the floor remind you of what just transpired. Wow. Jeez, man. Okay, cool. You would rather die than touch that thing again. You reach a shaking hand for your vox and call for a servitor. Now you just have to wait for the mindless automaton to arrive, pick up the cursed artifact, and head for the nearest airlock to be claimed by the void. Okay. Cool. Jeez. Light beam of flash goals. Okay. Okay, let's link your account. Okay, we've already done all of this. Cool. Jeez, man. I gotta admit, that's some crazy impressive writing. But I mean, to be fair, it's the music as well. Like, it's impressive to me that without voice acting, there was that much emotion in what was being said. That is really, really impressive. Okay. Where do we go next? Is anything? No, we've already been through all of this. Let's go back up top. Yeah, there we go. The bridge. Oh damn. It is raining cats and dogs. And I love to see it. That makes me very happy. Okay. Cool. Right. This is not what I was expecting. Didn't I go up to the bridge? Where am I now? What is this? Hefty tome contains... No, this is back in my quarters. Can I just not go to the bridge? Huh? To the bridge. Go. Oh. Okay. Weird. Something clearly glitched out. Okay. I think that's a good place to end it for the evening. Geez, it's a little earlier than I'd expected to end, but I feel like we've gotten through a fair bit, and I am super tired at the moment, so I think I'm gonna call it here. Save. Yeah. Cool. Right. Cool. Thanks to you guys for joining and watching the stream. Right, I am expecting to be online again tomorrow evening. This is a little bit shorter than I'd expected. I'll try to stream for a little bit longer tomorrow evening, but yeah, honestly, I'm just falling asleep at the moment. So I'm gonna call it there for now. And then, yeah, this game is seriously damn impressive. The writing on this is unbelievably good. Like, wow. I was not ready for it. I would have loved more voice acting, but like even without the voice acting, when writing is this good, it just, geez, man. Like it's impressive. I am very much enjoying this game so far. So looking forward to getting more into it. Cool. Cool. Right. Thanks for joining, those of you who are here. And I'll be online again, same time tomorrow.